The forest was not made for humans. Tall black trees bent like claws, reaching for the sky. Strange glowing plants grew between the roots, lighting the ground with a faint green shine. The air was heavy, filled with mist that never lifted. Every step echoed too loudly, as if the forest itself was listening. The human explorer walked slowly, careful not to make a sound. He had been traveling alone for days. His boots sank into soft ground, and the shadows seemed to move around him. This was not Earth. This was an alien world where danger could hide behind every tree. He carried only a small pack, a knife, and a scanner that beeped softly at his side. The scanner warned him of movement, but tonight it stayed silent. Too silent. Then the silence broke. "Human, help my mom." The voice was high, shaking, filled with fear. It was the cry of a child. The explorer froze in place. His heart pounded in his chest. He looked around quickly, searching for the source of the voice. But no one was there. The forest stretched endlessly, mist curling between the black trees. "Human, please, help my mom." The voice came again, louder this time. The explorer gripped his knife tighter. His training told him not to trust strange voices, not on a planet like this. Voices could be tricks. Predators sometimes lured prey with false cries. But this voice carried real pain. It carried tears. He took a step forward. "Who's there?" He called into the mist. No answer. Only the soft rustle of leaves above him. He should turn back. He should walk away and keep himself safe. That was the logical choice, but something inside him would not let him. He remembered his own daughter's face, far away on Earth. If she were crying out for help, would he not want someone to answer? Explorer's jaw tightened. He pushed deeper into the forest. The mist grew thicker. Every few steps, he thought he saw a small figure moving just ahead. But when he blinked, it vanished. The scanner on his hip gave a weak, flickering light, unable to track whatever was out there. "Human." "This way," the voice whispered again, softer now. He followed. The trees twisted overhead, and the ground grew wet with streams of black water. The air smelled of iron, sharp and bitter. A cold wind cut across his skin. Then he saw it. A small figure crouched near a fallen tree. Its body glowed faintly, as if light lived under its skin. Two large eyes, wide with fear, looked straight at him. The explorer stopped. His breath caught in his throat. The figure was no human child. It was alien. The child's skin was pale silver, its arms thin but long. The glow around it pulsed like a heartbeat. Its eyes shimmered with a strange blue fire. And yet, in those eyes, he saw something familiar. Fear, helplessness, a desperate need for someone to care. The child raised its trembling hands. "Please, my mom is trapped. She will die if you don't help." The explorer's grip on his knife loosened. He could see the tears gathering in the alien child's eyes. This was no trick. This was no hunter's trap to lure him in. This was real, still. His heart raced. If the child was here, then something worse must be nearby. What kind of danger could trap an alien strong enough to survive in this savage forest? He stepped closer, slowly, careful not to frighten the child. "Where is your mother?" he asked. His voice was low, steady, but inside, unease twisted through him. The child pointed with a thin, glowing hand. "This way." "Please hurry." The explorer hesitated only a moment. Then he nodded. As they began to walk, the forest grew darker, as if the trees leaned closer, listening to their steps. Strange eyes glimmered in the shadows, watching from above. The mist thickened, hiding the path behind them. The child moved quickly, looking back again and again to make sure the human followed. "She is not far," the child whispered, fear shaking every word. The explorer glanced at his scanner. Light flickered with strange signals movement everywhere, but no clear shapes. He felt the weight of unseen eyes on his back. "Who hunts here?" he asked softly. The child flinched. "The hunters, they set traps. They take the strong. They laugh. When we cry..." The words sent a chill through him. Hunters, intelligent beings, not beasts. If they could trap an alien mother, then they were dangerous, eh? And now he was walking straight into their territory. Still, he could not turn back. The child's hand reached out, brushing against his arm, and for a moment, he felt the warmth of trust. They pushed through a thicket of thorned vines, the sharp edges scraping his jacket. Ahead, the ground opened into a clearing, faintly lit by the glow of alien plants. And there, in the middle of the clearing, something large moved, bound in wires of light and steel. The explorer's breath caught. His hand gripped the knife. Again, the child whispered, voice breaking with tears, "There, that's my mom." The human took one slow step forward. And in that moment, the forest went silent again to silent. Something unseen was waiting in the shadows. The clearing smelled of burned metal and blood. In the center, a tall figure struggled against glowing wires. The snare hissed with strange energy, cutting into silver skin. The alien mother's body shook, every movement making the trap grow tighter. Her eyes, dim but burning, lifted weakly toward her child. The child ran forward, almost tripping over its thin legs. "Mom, duh." Explorer grabbed the child's shoulder. "Stop." His voice was sharp, urgent. The child froze, shaking, tears glowing on its cheeks. "She will die," it whispered. "You have to save her." The human scanned the clearing with quick, careful eyes. The forest around them was too quiet. Number? Insects, no birds, no movement, only silence. That silence meant danger. Predators or worse, hunters could be watching right now. He crouched low beside the child. "Listen to me. If I walk in there, they will know. Who set this trap?" The child's glowing eyes filled with fear. "The hunters take our people. They say we are only game for their sport. If they see you, they will take you too." The human's jaw tightened. He had fought many battles in his life, but this was different. This was not war. This was survival, and it was not his fight. He could turn around, vanish back into the mist, and leave this place forever. But then the child's small hand clutched his sleeve. The grip was weak, desperate, shaking with terror. "Please, no one else will help her. Only you. Please, human." The explorer looked into those glowing eyes. They were not human eyes, but they carried something he knew too well, the fear of losing family. He took a deep breath. "All right, I'll try. But you must stay close and stay quiet." The child nodded quickly, tears still streaming. The explorer stepped carefully into the clearing. His boots pressed against damp earth, leaving heavy marks. The trap shimmered in front of him, wires of steel crossed with beams of alien light. Every beam hummed, vibrating with strange energy. He could feel the heat from where he stood. The mother's breathing was shallow. She turned her head toward him, her voice a whisper, broken with pain. "Human, why? Why do you come?" The explorer knelt beside her, studying the trap. "Because your child asked me to." Her dim eyes widened, shimmering with something between hope and fear. "Then you must be careful. The snare is not made by beasts. It is built to kill. If you cut the wrong line, it will break me apart." The child cried out, stepping closer. Don't say that. The human raised a hand, keeping the child back. His eyes scanned the wires. There were dozens, maybe more, each humming in a slightly different tone. It was like a puzzle. One mistake leading to death. He pulled a small tool from his packet cutter, designed for human wires, not alien ones. His hand hovered above the glowing strands. Then he stopped. The forest shifted. He felt it. The air grew colder. The silence pressed harder. He knew this feeling. It was the feeling of being watched. His eyes swept the trees. No movement, no sound. But the weight of hidden eyes was heavy. The child's voice trembled. They're near. The human's pulse quickened. T forced himself to breathe slowly, stay calm. If we panic, they win. He turned back to the mother. Her skin was bleeding light from deep wounds where the wires dug in. She closed her eyes, pain shaking her body. I cannot last much longer, she whispered. But if you save me, they will not forgive you. The explorer frowned. Let them try. He studied the wires again, his mind racing. Each strand hummed with power, but one stood out, flickering faintly, weaker than the rest. He leaned closer, listening to its rhythm. It was out of sync. Wrong. This one, he muttered. He lifted his cutter, but before he could act snap, a sound from the trees. A branch breaking under a heavy foot. The explorer's head jerked up. The mist rippled. Shapes moved in the darkness. The child gasped, clutching his arm. They're here. The human's body went tense. His hand tightened on the cutter, but his knife was ready in the other. Stay behind me, he whispered. The mist shifted again, and for a moment, he saw them tall, armored figures with glowing masks. Their weapons gleaming with cruel light. They did not rush. They did not attack. They only watched, waiting, their laughter echoing faintly through the forest. The child pressed against the human's side, trembling. If they take her, she will never come back. The explorer felt the choice burning in his chest. He could run. He could leave this alien family to their fate. Or he could fight against hunters he did not understand. With weapons he did not have. But when he looked at the child, he already knew the answer. The human's eyes narrowed. He whispered, more to himself than anyone, not today. And with that, he raised the cutter, sparks flashing in the mist. The trap was alive. It hummed with cruel power, a cage made of steel and light woven together. The wires dug into the alien mother's silver skin, leaving glowing wounds that spread with every breath she took. The more she moved, the deeper the trap bit. The human knelt close, his face lit by the faint red glow of the wires. His breath fogged in the cold mist. His hand hovered just above the strands, feeling the vibration of each one. They were like strings on a deadly instrument, one wrong touch, and the whole trap would snap shut behind him. The alien child trembled. Its glowing eyes never left its mother. Please, hurry, the child whispered, voice breaking. She cannot last. The human spoke without looking back. Quiet now. Let me think. He studied the design. This was not simple technology. Whoever made it understood how to capture, how to hurt, and how to kill. Each wire carried energy, feeding into a core at the center of the snare. The core pulsed slowly, as if counting the victim's breaths. He realized with a chill was timing her death. He pressed his ear closer, listening. Every wire hummed at a different pitch, like a hidden song. If he could cut the right one, maybe the snare would weaken. If he cut the wrong one, the energy would surge and tear her apart. The child whispered again, louder this time. They will come. The hunters always come back to watch. The explorer's jaw tightened. He knew it was true. Already, he felt the forest pressing in. Eyes in the mist, shapes in the shadows. He didn't turn. He didn't need to. The watchers were there. The alien mother's voice was weak but sharp. "Leave me. Save yourself. They will kill you if you try." The human's eyes narrowed. "Not my style." He pulled a small cutting tool from his belt, a device meant for simple wires and metal. Against this alien snare, it looked almost useless. Still, it was all he had. He reached for the first wire, then stopped. A faint sound carried through the mist. Low, rhythmic laughter. The child gasped, clutching the human's sleeve. "They are here." The hunter's laughter was not like human. Laughter, it was sharp, cruel, echoing through the trees as if the forest itself mocked them. The shadows shifted, and the human caught a glimpse of tall figures, armored, their masks glowing faintly. They did not rush forward. They waited, watching, enjoying his struggle. The mother groaned, her body shaking as the trap dug deeper. "You cannot save me," she whispered again. "This snare is made for being stronger than you. Run, human. Take my child and run." But the child cried out, voice cracking. "No, don't leave her, please." The human's grip tightened on the cutter. He thought of his own child, waiting light years away, safe on Earth. If she were trapped like this, would he abandon her? Never. He leaned closer to the wires, shutting out the laughter, the mist, the eyes. He listened. The wires sang their deadly song. But one wire flickered. Its hum was off, faint, broken. "That's the one," he muttered. He raised the cutter. The child held its breath. The mother closed her eyes, and then snap. A branch cracked in the forest. The sound was close. Too close. The human froze. His hand trembled just above the wire. The hunters were moving. The mist parted for a moment, and he saw them clearly, 3 figures stepping out of the shadows. Their armor was black, scarred from many hunts. Their masks glowed with sharp red light. Each carried a weapon that pulsed, with the same cruel energy as the trap. One of them spoke, voice deep and twisted through the mask. "Step away, human. That prey is ours." The human didn't move. His cutter hovered just inches from the wire. The hunter laughed, cruel and loud. "You think you can save her? You think you can steal from us? Cut wrong, and she dies screaming. Cut right, and we take you both. Either way, the game is ours." The child pressed closer to the human side, trembling. "Don't listen to them," it whispered. The explorer's mind raced. He had seconds, maybe less. If he attacked the hunters now, he would die. If he hesitated, the mother would die. His only chance was to trust his instinct. He lowered the cutter onto the flickering wire. The metal hissed, sparks flashing. The snare screamed as if alive, light burning bright. The mother cried out, her body jerking. The hunters roared with laughter. But then something changed. The wires loosened, just slightly. The glow dimmed. The trap was weaker. The hunters' laughter stopped. Their glowing masks tilted, watching. One stepped forward, weapon raised. The human rose slowly to his feet, knife in one hand, cutter in the other. His eyes locked on the hunters. "Not yours," he said, his voice steady, cold. "Not today." The forest held its breath. The mother still bound, the child clinging, the hunters ready to strike, and the human, standing between them all, prepared to fight. The clearing was frozen in silence. The mother lay half free, glowing. Wires still wrapped around her body. The child clung to the human's leg, trembling, eyes wide with terror. And in the mist, the hunters stood 3 tall figures, armored in black, their glowing masks burning red. The lead hunter raised his weapon slowly. It hummed with cruel energy, a blade of light that hissed in the cold air. "Step back, human." The voice growled. low and twisted by the mask. She belongs to us. The game is ours. The human did not move. He stood firm, his knife ready. In one hand, his cutter glowing faintly in the other. His breath came slow, steady. His heart, though, beat like thunder in his chest. He had fought before wars. Battles, survival missions, but this was different. These hunters were not soldiers, they were predators. And they hunted for sport. The mother's voice, weak but clear, broke the silence. Human, do not stay. Take my child and run. The child shook its head violently. We cannot leave. You, please, don't say that. The human looked at the mother. Her wounds glowed faintly, blood like liquid silver seeping from deep cuts. He could see her pain, her strength fading. She might not last long. The hunter laughed. The sound was sharp, cruel, echoing in the mist. Look at you, human. Weak flesh, soft bones. You cannot fight us. Walk away, and we may let you live. The human's eyes narrowed. His voice was low, steady, filled with steel. If I walk away, I stop being human. The hunters tilted their heads as if amused. Their laughter rolled through the forest again. The human turned back to the trap. The wires still hummed. The mother's breaths came shallow, quick. He had only seconds. He spoke quickly to the child. Listen to me. If something happens, you run. Do you understand? The child shook its head again, clutching his arm. No, I won't leave you. The human knelt, placing a steady hand on the child's shoulder. You have to. Your mother needs you. Promise me you will run if I fall. Tears streamed down the child's glowing cheeks. But finally, with a trembling whisper, it said, I promise. The human rose again. His choice was made. He stepped forward, closer to the mother, closer to the trap. The hunters did not stop him. They watched, curious, like wolves circling prey. They wanted to see what he would do. He crouched beside the mother once more. His cutter hovered above another wire, one that pulsed faintly, out of rhythm with the rest. His hand shook slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of the choice. If he cut wrong, the mother would die. If he cut right, the hunters would. Strike. The mother's dim eyes opened, locking on his. Why do you do this, human? He swallowed, his voice low. Because your child called for help, and I answered. For a moment, silence. Then, slowly, a faint smile touched her lips. Even through the pain, the hunters stepped closer, their weapons glowing brighter. The human's hand pressed the cutter down. Sparks hissed, the wire snapping with a sharp flash of light. The trap screamed again, the energy surging. The mother cried out, her body jerking violently. Then dashed silence. The wires loosened. One by one, they snapped, falling away like broken chains. The glow dimmed, the energy fading. The mother collapsed to the ground, free but weak, bleeding, her body trembling. The child ran forward with a cry, wrapping thin glowing arms around her. Mom, you're free, you're free. The hunters did not laugh this time. Their glowing masks turned toward the human, their silence heavier than any sound. The lead hunter stepped forward. You made your choice, human. His voice was a growl filled with promise. Now you die. The human rose slowly, standing tall between the hunters and the fallen mother. His knife gleamed faintly, his cutter buzzing weakly in his other hand. He was only one man. They were three killers with weapons far beyond his own. He knew the odds. But he also knew something else. Sometimes survival was not about running. Sometimes survival was about standing. He set his feet firmly on the ground, his eyes never leaving. The hunters. His voice was calm, almost quiet, but filled with iron. "Then come. Let's see if your sport can bleed." The child's breath caught, clutching its mother tightly. The forest seemed to close in, the mist thickening, the shadows waiting. The hunters raised their weapons, and the human tightened his grip, ready to face death itself. The mist moved like a living thing. 3 hunters stepped out of the shadows, their armor black and scarred, their glowing masks burning with cruel red light. Each carried a weapon alive with energy blades humming, claws sparking, nets of light. Twisting in their hands, they were not rushing. They didn't need to. They had trapped prey before. They always won. The lead hunter raised his weapon slowly, pointing it at the human. His voice rolled out through the mask, deep and mocking. "You freed her. Brave, foolish. But bravery does not stop death." The child clutched the mother, sobbing, eyes glowing with terror. "Please, don't hurt them." "Please." The hunters laughed. The sound was sharp, echoing through the forest, a sound that promised pain. The human did not laugh. He stood tall, knife in one hand, cutter in the other. His body was tired, his tools weak, but his eyes were steady. He spoke softly, not to the hunters, but to the child. "Stay behind me. Do not move." The hunters spread out, circling. The ground trembled under their heavy boots. They were larger than men, faster too, built for the hunt. Their weapons glowed brighter with every step. The mother raised her head weakly, whispering, "Human, you cannot fight them." The explorer's jaw tightened. "Maybe not, but I can stall them." The lead hunter swung his blade, the light cutting through the mist with a hiss. "Then stall, human. Make us laugh before we break you." He lunged forward. The human rolled aside, the blade slicing into the earth where he had stood. The ground burned, soil turning black. The hunter's laughter roared through the mask. The human came up quick, throwing dirt into the hunter's mask. The hunter stumbled, growling, blinded for a moment. The other 2 advanced, nets of light whipping through the air. One snapped close to his leg, nearly trapping him. He leaped back, heart pounding, knife ready. The child cried out, "Run! Please, run!" But the human shook his head. His voice was calm, even now. "No running. Not today." He darted forward, slashing with his knife. Sparks flew as the blade scraped across armor too strong to pierce. But the strike forced the hunter back, off balance. The hunters growled. The game was no longer fun. The lead hunter ripped the dirt from his mask, roaring in rage. "You dare fight back." His voice shook the trees. The human smirked faintly, even through his fear. "I dare." The hunters lunged together this time. Weapons flashing in the mist, the human ducked low, sliding across the wet ground. He cut at their legs, forcing them to stumble. He grabbed a burning branch from the trap, swinging it wide. The fire lit the clearing, forcing the hunters back for a heartbeat. The child gasped, eyes wide with hope. "He's winning." But the mother's weak voice corrected, "No, he's surviving." The hunters regrouped, their weapons glowing brighter, their laughter gone now. The game had turned into anger. One raised his clawed hand, firing a bolt of light. The blast missed. The human by inches, burning a tree into ash. The heat seared his skin, but he kept moving, rolling into the mist, forcing the hunters to turn. He struck from the side, his knife slashing at the cords on one hunter's arm. Sparks flew, and the weapon fell, hissing. The hunter roared in fury, swinging a heavy fist. It caught the human's side, throwing him to the ground. Pain exploded through his ribs. He gasped, forcing himself to stand. The child screamed, "No, don't hurt him." The hunters laughed again. "See, little one, he bleeds, Soon he will break. The human spat blood, his body shaking, but his eyes still burned with fire. Not yet. He staggered back to his feet, knife trembling in his hand. Every breath hurt, but he stood between the hunters and the fallen mother. The hunters advanced again, weapons raised. The mist glowed red with their power. The child clung to its mother, crying. The mother whispered, her voice weak but certain, "He fights for us. He fights for hope." The lead hunter lifted his blade high. Time to end this. But the human did not back down. His eyes locked on the hunter, his voice low, steady, almost a whisper. "Come then, let's finish your game." The hunters roared, charging together. The clearing erupted in fire, sparks, and steel. And in that storm of violence, the human stood. A single figure against three monsters, refusing to fall. The clearing burned with red light. Three hunters circled the human, their weapons glowing, their laughter gone. They were angry now. Their prey had dared to fight back, dared to wound their pride. The human's breath came ragged. His ribs ached. His knife was slick with blood not theirs, but his own. Still, he stood tall, his eyes steady, his grip tight. The child's voice broke the silence. "Please stop. He can't fight you all." The lead hunter turned his mask toward the child. "Watch, little one. Watch how humans break." The human's lips curved into the faintest smile, even through his pain. "Break me. Try." The hunters lunged. The first swung a glowing blade downward, slicing through the mist. The human dodged just in time, the heat grazing his arm. Pain seared his skin, but he kept moving. He rolled low, coming up behind the second hunter. His knife slashed at the cables running along the armor's leg. Sparks burst, and the hunter stumbled with a roar. The human darted away before the third hunter's net of light snapped shut. Burning the ground where he had stood, fast, one hunter growled, but not for long. The human's chest heaved. He was running on instinct now, every move fueled by will, not strength. His eyes scanned the clearing. He couldn't beat them in open combat. He needed the forest. He needed the world itself as his weapon. His gaze flicked to the broken trap. Wires still hummed with dying energy, glowing faintly on the ground. Dangerous, unstable, perfect. He grabbed a handful of the loose wires, sparks burning his gloves. The hunters laughed. "You think dead tools will save you?" The human hurled the wires into the ground before the closest hunter. The energy flared, exploding upward in a sudden burst of light. The hunter screamed, armor sparking, mask flashing. With static, the human charged, driving his knife into the hunter's side. The blade didn't pierce deep, but it was enough to force the predator to stumble back. Howling in rage, the other two advanced weapons raised. The child gasped, clinging tighter to its mother. "He's winning." The mother's dim eyes studied. The human, her weak voice whispering, "Not winning, surviving." The lead hunter roared, swinging his blade in a wide arc. The human ducked, barely escaping. The ground where he had stood split open, glowing with burning heat. He rolled, grabbing a fallen branch lit with fire from the trap's sparks. He swung it wide, flames forcing the hunters back. The smell of smoke filled the clearing. The mist glowing orange now, the hunters snarled. They were no longer amused, no longer patient. They wanted blood. The second hunter lunged, claws flashing. The human blocked with the burning branch. The wood cracked, fire raining down, but it bought him. A second, just 1 second. Enough to stab forward with his knife. Steel met armor. The knife scraped, then slipped between the gaps. The hunter roared as silver blood hissed from the wound. The child's eyes widened. He hurt them. The lead hunter's voice thundered, filled with rage. Enough, no more games. He raised his weapon high, energy screaming through it. The ground shook with its power. The human knew he couldn't block it. He couldn't outrun it. Not this time. But he could choose how to stand. He straightened his back, blood dripping from his side, knife held firm. His eyes locked on the hunters. His voice, low but steady, cut through the roar of weapons. You think humans are prey? But we are something else. We endure. We fight when we should fall. We bleed, but we don't break. The hunters paused, as if confused by the calm in his voice. He raised his knife higher, defiance burning in his eyes. You will remember this night, not because you hunted us, but because one human stood against you and did not bow. The child's breath caught. The mother's dim eyes widened. The hunters roared as one. Charging together, the human braced himself, ready for the storm. Pain screamed through his body, but his spirit burned brighter than the hunter's weapons. And in that moment, just as the blades descended, just as the nets of light closed in, the forest itself seemed to shiver. The alien mother stirred, her silver skin glowing brighter, power rising from deep within. Her body trembled, but her voice carried through the clearing, strong despite her wounds. You will not take him. The hunters froze. The glow around the mother grew stronger, brighter, filling the clearing with light. The human's eyes widened. He stepped back, knife still raised, as the ground beneath them shook. The child cried out in joy and fear all at once. Mom. The hunters snarled, their masks flashing, weapons ready, and the human stood at the mother's side, battered, but unbroken, as a new storm prepared to rise. The clearing burned with fire and mist. The human stood, bloodied and exhausted, knife trembling in his grip. The hunter circled, weapons glowing, ready to strike the final blow. Their cruel laughter echoed like thunder through the black trees. But then everything changed. The alien mother's body glowed brighter, her silver skin pulsing with energy. The faint shimmer that had clung to her wounds now burned like fire under her skin. The ground trembled, the air humming with power. The hunters paused, their glowing masks tilting. One growled, voice sharp. She should be weak. She should be dying. The mother's voice rose, no longer faint, but strong and fierce. I am not yours. I will never be yours. Light burst from her body, a wave of silver energy spreading across the clearing. The trees shook, the ground split. The hunters staggered, their weapons flickering. The child cried out, joy breaking through its fear. Mom, you're free. The human shielded his eyes from the glow, his heart pounding. He had seen power before, but not like this. This was something deeper, older, a force the hunters had underestimated. The lead hunter roared, charging through the light, his blade raised. No power saves you from us. But the mother rose to her full height, towering over them now. Her wounds glowed shut, her body burning with silver fire. She raised her arms, and energy shot outward, striking the hunter mid-charge. His armor cracked, his mask shattered, and his body was thrown across the clearing like a rag doll. The other two hunters hesitated, their weapons dimming under the flood of power. For the first time, the cruel laughter was gone, replaced by silence, by fear. The human stood at her side, his knife still ready, even though he knew he could not match what she had become. His voice was low, steady. We finish this together. The mother glanced at him, her glowing eyes locking on his. In that moment, there was no alien, no human, only two warriors standing against the dark. She gave the faintest nod. The hunters roared. Rushing in desperation, the mother unleashed her power again, silver light colliding with red energy. The forest exploded with sound, trees burning, the ground shattering. The human darted through the chaos, using his knife to cut at the hunter's weak points while the mother's energy tore through their defenses. One by one, the hunters fell. Armor broken, weapons shattered. Their cruel masks darkened, their bodies left smoking in the dirt. Silence returned at last. The mist settled. The fire dimmed. The human dropped to one knee, gasping for breath, his body shaking. His knife slipped from his hand, clattering against the ground. He had nothing left to give. The mother stood tall, her glow fading, but her strength steady now. She looked down at him, her voice soft but filled with respect. You fought when you did not have to. You bled for those who were not yours. You stood when no one else would. The child rushed forward, throwing glowing arms around the human. You saved her. You saved us both. The human's tired eyes met the child's. He managed a faint smile. No, we saved each other. The mother knelt beside them, her silver hand resting gently on his shoulder. You are more than a visitor here. You are family now, bound not by blood, but by choice. The human closed his eyes for a moment, breathing deeply, letting the words sink into his battered chest. He had come to this world as an outsider. But now he had found something else, something rare. The child looked at him with wide eyes, voice trembling with hope. Will you stay with us? Will you fight with us when they come back? The human's gaze lifted to the dark forest where shadows still lingered. The hunters might be gone, but he knew more would come. Predators never stopped hunting. His jaw tightened. His voice was calm but filled with steel. Yes, if they come again, they won't just face you. They'll face me, too. The child's face lit with joy. The mother's eyes glowed with quiet pride. Above them, the alien sky burned with strange stars, cold and endless. But in that clearing, something new had been born, an unbreakable bond. The human stood, battered but unbroken, looking out into the mist. He knew this was not the end, was only the beginning. And somewhere in the darkness, far away, other hunters laughed. They had lost tonight, but they would return. Only next time, they would not find prey. They would find resistance. They would find humans.